Hey y'all, hey. Okay, well, good afternoon. My name is Indi Isan Edigi, known as the Naija Goddess. I'm a board certified holistic nutritionist, certified herbalist, and doctoral candidate for functional medicine, expect to be completed this year. But that's actually not why you should listen to me today. About 8 years ago, I was just under 400 pounds, and I had PCOS, diabetes, high cholesterol, hypothyroidism, on and on and on. Horrible periods, absolutely no energy, horrible depression, hair falling out, bad skin, just thing on top of thing on top of thing. And what actually ended up changing my life, because what I was told was that, well, everything you just have, you'll have for the rest of your life, we'll manage it. And when this started, because I had always been overweight my entire life, so they said, when I first got diagnosed with a PCOS, I was in my early 20s, and they said, well, look, take this medication so you can have your kids, so when you're about 35, we'll just give you a hysterectomy. And that's what they said. And I was just like, everything, I was like 22. I was like, so between now and 35, what am I supposed to do? Because I'm miserable. I was just, again, absolutely no energy whatsoever. And being Nigerian, they didn't care. You have school you have to get done. You have things you have to get done. So everything I've accomplished in life, because I have what people would say would be a lot of accomplishments, is only because of my culture that requires it. Okay, it was sheer willpower. It was not because I actually had the energy to do anything. And I'm like disappointed that my life was stolen from me in that way, because there's no telling what I actually could have accomplished if I actually had energy. If I actually could just get up and just want to like live the day and not be so depressed and tired and all that. So what happened, I watched a documentary. It changed my life, changed my father's life. And that's when I learned that what you put on your plate really does matter. When I changed my eating habits, I didn't do it to get rid of any of those things I just said, because I was told that I'll have for the rest of my life. You can't, there's no cure for PCOS. Diabetes, once you get it, you can't get rid of it. It's highly unlikely. And all the things they said, your thyroid doesn't get better, it only gets worse, all those things. That's what I was told. So I didn't go in there expecting any change. I just thought, well, maybe I'll finally have some energy for the first time in my life and be able just to get up and do something because I want to, not because I absolutely have to and been obligated to do something. So when I changed what was going on my plate, everything I said, when I say not just kind of went away, completely went away. Completely went away. And weight just fell off without any effort whatsoever. My hair came back. My skin looked like it is now, like everything changed. And I was like, well, dang. So I don't have any more fibroids? Oh. I thought I had to have surgery for fibroids because you can't get rid of fibroids. Oh, okay. Oh, the PCOS is completely gone. Oh, my A1C that was 6.2 is now 4.9. Oh, okay. Only thing I did, I wasn't even exercising at the time. Only thing I did was change what was on my plate. Huh. Well, food really is medicine, and y'all been lying to me. And my whole 20s and my 30s were robbed, and now I'm pissed off because y'all been lying to me. And y'all knew this. It turns out doctors really don't know because they're not taught nutrition. Okay, they're really not. They're taught pharmaceuticals. So I took it upon myself through some other traumatic events in my life to take my butt to school to learn what is going on so that I could actually be helpful not only for myself, but to other people. Because I said, if I suffered like this, I know I can't be the only one. I know I can't be the only one. And so that's how this type of class came to be in a nutshell. There's other parts to it, but we're on a time crunch. I'm trying to keep it concise. And there's a quote that my teacher, my mentor, says that always sticks with me. So he says, if I tell you, I'll forget, or you'll forget. If you show me, I remember. But if you involve me, I'll understand. So that's why we have these in-person cooking classes, because I want to not only show you, I want you to be involved, okay? So that you can actually make it a part of your life. So before we leave this hour or 45 minutes that we have together, there's 3 things you're going to walk away understanding. Because if you don't, I want you to listen out for these 3 things, okay? You're going to learn the Nourish by Naija template. This is the backbone of the book I wrote, and this is how you're going to start to change your life by making food as medicine. You're going to learn the PF3 framework, and then you're going to actually taste the things that we talked about so that it can register. So it's not just cerebral learning. You can actually taste what we're actually talking about. So those are the 3 aspects of our course today. We're all on the same page. We're tracking. So okay, well, the first thing I did was to learn about nutrition. Now, I was already a chef. I've been a chef. I went to the culinary school as a pastry chef like 25 years ago at this point. And then I had my own restaurant and for a while, and then I co-owned a restaurant, Love and Action Cafe, and then we were suddenly closed because they sold the building. So I've been a chef for a long time. I already knew about food, but I didn't know about the healthiness of food. I just made food that tasted good. That's all I knew. And so when I went to school to become a nutritionist, That's when I learned the healing powers of food and what's on your plate and proportions on your plate and why they really matter. And that's what this class is actually about. Okay, so that's kind of a primer for why we're talking about this today. This is the crux of the book I wrote called Nourish by Naija, which is a book about food prep, not meal prep, food prep that fits your life and feeds your health. Fits your life meaning if you're an airline attendant and you're constantly traveling, you still need a food prep. If you're a stay-at-home mom, you need a food prep. If you're a caregiver, you need a food prep. Whatever it is that's your lifestyle, you need to food prep, all right? So you're not door dashing and going through McDonald's drive-through and all that kind of stuff, so you're not doing that. And feed your health because everybody's in a different health space. You might want to maintain where you are. Maybe you're in good health, you want to maintain where you are. Great. Okay, how are you going to maintain it? Making sure you're accounting for all your nutrients. What if you're a person that says, hey, I have PCOS, I have diabetes, or I need to lose weight, or I need to gain muscle? Okay, how are we going to feed your health? So that's what this book is about. Now, as a person who's in a grocery store literally every day, because I have meal prep clients, and like I said, I was a chef, we're constantly at the grocery stores all the time. And my peace of mind, like when I want to get away, I either go to a really nice looking grocery store, like a Wegmans or something, or I go to a bookstore. Those are the two places you can find me. But if I'm like pissed off and I just need to go somewhere, I'm at a grocery store or bookstore. So I notice what people have in their carts all the time. The very people pushing the carts where they can't even walk is filled with meat and eggs and milk and boxes of cereal and all that kind of stuff. You can see what's happening in people's bodies with what's in their cart, and it really is a correlation. Doesn't mean that you cannot have an indulgence at all, because if what I practice is 80% or more are staples, and 20% or less are indulgences, because we still have to live life and enjoy life. And you can still have indulgences that are still wholesome. Okay, they don't have to be all the way off the rails. But if, at least with this framework, if you do go off the rails, you have a framework to come back to. Okay, and that's the whole point. Okay, so before I delve in, I want you all to, this is a trust building exercise. I want you all to close your eyes, okay? Nothing's going to happen to you. I just want you to close your eyes. And I want you to envision 2 glass mason jars. One mason jar that has water in it. It's got a couple tablespoons of dirt, a tablespoon of oil, a tablespoon of sugar. And shake that glass up, shake that mason jar up, and it's kind of a murky water. Yes? Can y'all visualize that? Okay, and I want you to think about a second mason jar, same size, filled with water, but it's got a sprig of thyme and rosemary and some slices of lemon in it. And I want you to think about the comparison and contrast between the murky and the clean. Okay, now open your eyes. I want you to keep that visual image in your head. Because what you put in your body, what you eat, you're either filling up the murky water or you're filling up that clean water. And it's a decision, it's a choice we make meal by meal, bite by bite. We vote, that's how we're able to vote for our health, okay? Thank you so much. So with that, the first sheet that you'll see is this template. This is your everything. This is how you plan your week. This is how you actually do food prep. And I don't like to say meal prep, because meal prep implies you make the same meal, you eat it breakfast, lunch, and dinner for 3 days, 5 days, 7 days, you're tired of it, you don't want it, you end up throwing it away because you don't even eat it. We're talking about having food assembled, so you're not door dashing. So you're not going through the drive-through, okay? You're not grabbing that bag of chips because you feel ravenous all of a sudden, okay? We're talking about intentional planning throughout our week, throughout our month, throughout our days of having food elements prepared so that you can always put together a healthy meal, okay? That's what we're doing. So the Nourish by Naija Method, we teach every week you want to get at least 30 different types of fruits, vegetables, grains, nuts, seeds in your body. Now that might sound like a lot. But if you think about everything that goes in your plate, and that includes all the seasonings and everything, 30 is so simple. So you start off, you write down 6 non-starchy vegetables. So without cheating, because the answers are there, let's name some non-starchy vegetables. You beautiful. Zucchini is a non-starchy veg. Cabbage, green beans in the shell. Edamame, peas in the shell. Outside the shell, they're starchy. Yes. So like snow peas, they come in the little shell, it's like 3 or 4 peas in there. If you eat them like that, that's considered a non-starchy veg. When they're out of the shell and they're just a loose piece, that's a starchy vegetable. Okay? Yes. Yes. And it's really because of how much fiber is in there, because the peas by themselves are very starchy by themselves, and they have a lot, for a vegetable, more sugar. What else? It's non-starchy veg. Kale, yes. Asparagus, collard greens. So there's so many. And as a chef, I go to the grocery store every single day, like literally every day. I have meal prep clients and all that. And I see people just on autopilot in the produce section. They grab the same boring vegetable. They grab spinach. They might venture out and grab some kale. They might grab some collard greens if it's Thanksgiving time. They buy the same things. And there's so much variety in your regular grocery stores. You don't even have to go to Whole Foods. You don't even have, even if you don't go to the farmer's market, just in your regular everyday grocery store, there's so many vegetables that you don't even consider. There are non-starchy vegetables that you should be entertaining. Okay, so we're saying every week, try to write down 6 non-starchy vegetables that you like, okay? So I can tell you all day how great Brussels sprouts are, but if you say I've had them every single way, I just don't like Brussels sprouts, well, you know what? There's like 1,000 other non-starchy vegetables you can choose, okay? So this makes it customized to you and your family's needs and wishes and wants. Does that make sense? Yes, ma'am. Yes. So the question is there a way to tell if it's a more starchy vegetable? The tendency is if it's above ground, it's non-starchy. If it's below ground, it's starchy. That's the best. It's not always, but that's the more or less. If it's above ground, it's non-starchy like your kales, all your lettuces. If it's below ground, starchy like your carrots, your sweet potatoes, and okay. But that means you also have to know how your food's actually grown, and most people don't because we're so separated from growing our own food. Okay, but that's a great question. So I implore you to write down 6 non-starchy vegetables that you like. Okay. All right, so that's what the bulk of our plate should be, because not only does it have where all the minerals are, your vitamins are, that's where your fiber is. And they're also water-rich foods typically, okay? That's going to be stuff that's going to actually fill you up. That's going to stuff that's going to make you not have any cravings. That's going to help you have proper bowel elimination, okay? That's why it's so important to make sure that's on your plate. Because a lot of people, you could be a junk food vegan. So it's not about what you're categorizing yourself as. It's about what are you actually swallowing is what matters. Okay, what you actually swallow is what matters. And everything does not have to be cooked. So even if you are vegan, Lord, can you try to eat something raw every day? Okay, eat something raw every day. Eat something green every day. Eat something raw every day. And some people, if it's too hard to just think about it, a smoothie is raw. Okay, a avocado pudding is raw. Okay, there's a lot of things that you eat that are raw that you don't think of them as raw. Okay, but eat something raw every day. Eat something green every day. And make sure you're eating enough non-starchy vegetables so you get your fiber every day. Per major meal, and a major meal is classified as breakfast, lunch, or dinner, the goal is to have at least 12 to 15 grams of fiber per major meal. So you might say, well, I'm not a nutritionist. I don't know how much fiber this is. Then I say, Google it or chat GPT it. Okay, you can take a picture and it will tell you. You can use an app like Chronometer, which is free, and it will tell you, okay, until you get used to it. But like I said before, what does not have fiber is meat, cheese, and eggs. And whatever other animal things you want to consume, there's not a gram, not a half a gram, not an eighth of a gram of fiber in any of that. Okay? So the only way you can get fiber is through plants. That's the nut seeds, everything that grows, that's where fiber is. Okay? It's the backbone of the plant. So that's very, very important, and it's good for your gut, your digestive health. That's why colon cancer is on the rise, and people have normalized not eliminating every day. It's not normal. Now you go to the doctors because I'm going to go on a quick side tangent. You go to the doctor, they run your annual blood work, it comes back, everything's green, they tell you you're great, okay? Oh, one's a little trending, a little bit high, a little bit low, but that's okay. Then you come back the next year, you got 3 things in red, and you feel even worse than you did the year before when you're supposed to have been good. So let me tell you about those normal ranges, because as you all know, I'm about to be a official functional medicine doctor. The average range, that green range, is based off the populace, okay? So if you're fat, sick, and all that, they're taking all that and averaging that and then doing the bell curve, and that's where they're getting the normal range from. So the normal range is not based on a healthy body. So you cannot look at that and see all green, and you make yourself feel good, like you know what you've really been eating, you know what you've really been doing, and you see all that green, and you feel good for a second, knowing that you're just kicking the can down the road. Okay, what you want to know is optimal ranges. Optimal ranges are based on a healthy body, not based on and that's why every 5 years it keeps changing. So like before, you're considered pre-diabetic, which is this whole other thing I don't even believe in. It's like pre-pregnant, okay? It doesn't work like that. But anyway, it was 5.3 and above. Now it's 5.6 and above. Why? Because more and more people are quote unquote pre-diabetic. So the average, so they say, so you're within the average, but the average of sick people, okay? And so when you go to your standard allopathic doctor, that's what it's based upon. And that's when they can say, okay, well, you're in the range, watch this a little bit, so that when you come back the following year and you have full-blown diabetes based on their scale, now they can give you all these prescription drugs for the rest of your life. And that's what happens. when it's completely avoidable. It's completely reversible. Completely. If you have type 2 diabetes and you have this information, then it's a choice. You're choosing to have it because you don't have to have it. It's like one of the easiest things to reverse. As a person who had 6.2 A1C that now has 4.9 A1C, I'm telling you, it's very easy to do, okay? And as a person who's a sweetsaholic, I was a pastry chef. I like sweets, okay? I just love all the breads and the croissants and all that crap. I used to Cinnabons and all that. I used to kill all that, okay? And I was a cheeseaholic. Cheese on everything. I was like, Olive Garden. He's like, tell me when. I'm like, keep churning, bro. Okay, keep churning. I ain't gonna tell you when. You got to stop. All right, so that was me. Okay, that was 100% me. But that was also me with the horrific periods that lasted 20 days. And I'm changing a tampon and a pad every 2 hours. I'm also the person that started their period at 9 years old. Okay, which is so wrong because my parents, being from Nigeria, switched to an American diet. And all of a sudden, I'm sick. I'm allergic to everything. Okay, and for the men in the room, that's very early. It's now becoming more and more normal. Before it was normal to have your period at 16. And then it became normal to have your period at 13. And now they're normalizing 10-year-olds and 12-year-olds having a period. I was 9 years old. I was in the 4th grade, me and one other girl. It's not normal, okay? Because I'm drinking breast milk of another species that's supposed to be 1,200 pounds. Okay, that's the one aside, all right, which further later developed into PCOS and tons of fibroids. It was horrific. It was just horrific. And again, I didn't know what I didn't know. I didn't know. Then they tell you, oh, well, black women are 80% more likely to get it. Okay, well, why? And if even if that's the case, why is that supposed to be? I'm supposed to just be cool with that? I'm not. It sucks. Okay, so food is medicine, and that's why I'm committed to this. Okay, so this framework. So now we have named our 6 non-starchy vegetables, and hopefully you all have the importance of why that's so important. Like getting rid of fibroids, you have to eat non-starchy vegetables. Okay, and you can't be a person who say, I don't like vegetables, I don't like this. Whatever you're saying that you don't like and it's supposed to be good for you, that's why you're not healthy. You have to learn to have a season your food so it can become good. You get new taste buds every 2 to 3 weeks. Brand new taste buds. Brand new taste buds. So if you don't like something, as long as you don't hate it. If you hate it, it don't matter what happens, you ain't gonna like it. If you think you don't like something but you want to like it, give it 2 weeks. Because you'll have new taste buds. Because your taste buds are responding to the crap you have previously put in your body. Okay? So those microbes that are asking for all that sugar and all that fat and stuff, all this the refined crap that you've been eating that you don't want to eat, that you shouldn't be eating, that's what your taste buds are programmed for. So when you try to give it some fresh kale, it's like, oh, well, we don't want this. We ain't feeling this at all. Okay? Give yourself 2 weeks. You owe it to yourself. You can spend 2 weeks trying to eat kale versus a lifetime on whatever prescription drug is popular at the moment that they're getting kickbacks on. Okay? And so while you're doing that, we're going to move on to 5 starches. Let's name 5 starches that you like. Potatoes, yes. Sweet potatoes, yes. What kind of rice? Black rice, okay. White, okay. Brown, okay. Quinoa, yes. What else? What other starches that you all like? Couscous, yes. Pasta, yes. Yeah, what you like, because there are healthy pastas. There are healthy pastas, yeah. What else? What other starches do you like? Chickpeas aren't considered a starch, considered actually a protein. But technically, I mean, it could fall in all 3 categories actually. But you can go with that. Yes, yam. Anything else? Now you all named the very generic, run-of-the-mill. I didn't hear amaranth. I didn't hear fonio. I didn't hear sorghum. I didn't hear, Never heard of them. Okay. And you know what? Spelt, teff. All those things are sitting right there beside the white rice in your regular grocery stores. They're all right there, okay? There's so much variety that you can pick. You don't have to keep getting what you've always had. That will increase your gut, the diversity in your gut when you eat those things, okay? So, and if you're scared to try it, then you can mix it in with white rice. It ain't gonna kill you, okay? Just to get yourself warmed up to it, okay? You can do that. So, now that you've written down your 6 non-starchy vegetables, write down your 5 starches. And so while you're doing that, we're going to go to 4 fruits. So let's see what we have for fruit. Yes. Ooh. Mango, yes. Kiwi, mango, watermelon, yes. What? Persimmon is my new favorite. Apples. Papaya. Now, which ones are in season now? Strawberry season, yes. Blueberry, we're kind of leaving. We're in strawberry season, yeah. We're starting the berry season's kind of, they like that frost. It's at the very end, yeah. What else? Because you want to buy foods that are in season. Not only are they much healthier, much tastier, but they're also cheaper because you're not having to do all this extra importing and stuff from further away when it's in a different climate, different time zone. Okay? So that's something to think about. Hey, Kim. Okay, so you all named basic American fruits. I would just like to say there are lots of other fruits that you can try. Okay? Besides the grapes, there's kumquats. Okay? When was the last time you had a kumquat or lychee or dragon fruit or any of the other things that are right there in your regular, at Aldi, okay, at Food Lion. It's right there. Why do you keep getting apples and oranges and bananas and kiwi? Why y'all keep sticking to that? Okay? I encourage you to try some other things. So keep the ones you know you like and try at least once a week or even once a month if you're really scared to add something new. Okay? And just try, just fold it into something that you actually like. Okay? All right, so we have that. So now we're going to go to proteins. Now, this method and this book, I only want to give plant-based suggestions, but that does not mean if you are not 100% plant-based that you cannot apply this method, okay? So if you still choose to eat your dead animals, you can put them here in this category, okay? I'm just not going to give those suggestions, so it's up to you, all right? So let's name some plant proteins, and then for those who still consume the other stuff, you can name those too, but let's name some plant proteins. And when you're doing the plant-based stuff, they can fall in different categories. So that same plant that's a protein can also be a fat, can also be a starch, can also be a certain thing. So that's why I want to make sure it's clear so that you have it in your mind when we go through the rest of our lesson today. So let's name some plant proteins. Chickpeas, yes. Lentils, absolutely. Yeah, peas are, yeah, that's a protein. Yep. Tofu, jackfruit is not. It's not a protein. Just because it has a meat-like texture, it's like one cup's only like 3 grams of protein. So it's not high enough to consider a main protein on your plate. But it's a great thing to put on still as a starch or as a fruit. So it's still very healthy to consume. Yep. Sprouts, absolutely. Very high in protein, sprouts. Hemp seeds, absolutely. This also can be your fat. It's really high in the precursor omega-3s, but just 3 tablespoons of 10 grams of protein, so absolutely. Chia can be considered protein. It's very high in protein, but it also can be a fat as well. Yep. Tempeh, absolutely. That's one of the king plant sources. Mushroom root. Mushroom root is very high in protein. So like on the, if you go to the farmer's market or you grow your own mushrooms, eating the root, it is very high in protein. Or on the processed side, if you get like the mycelium steaks and stuff like that, they're very high in protein, like very high in protein. But just the actual mushroom itself, it still has protein, but it's not high enough, like similar to jackfruit, for it to be considered a protein directly. Yep. Pumpkin seeds? Yeah, they already said tofu. Pumpkin seeds, yes. Yes. Y'all doing great. Okay. I'm sure y'all can name all the animals in the world if you want to add those too. So I don't think we have to go through that part. You said what now? I was going to say steak. Steak? What animal? You had to say cow. Cow. There we go. You put cow on the don't put filet mignon, put cow. Okay. There you go. Okay. Dead cow at that. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. But so you can have your tofu and your cow and your tempeh. Yeah, you can do that. Yeah, you can do that. So yeah. All right, so good. Y'all did great on that. So now let's get to fats. Let's name 2 fats. I hope y'all actually writing this down. The ones you like. The ones you like. Okay, so we want to talk about whole fats. So it's not that olive oil is per se bad, because I'm definitely not saying that. I'm saying we want to get our fats from whole sources. Okay? Adding oil, 1 measly little tablespoon of oil is 120 calories. 120 calories, okay? So if you just start putting a bunch of oil in the pan, you already added 500-600 calories, and it does nothing to the taste, nothing to make you feel fuller or anything. So if you use oil, you want to be very intentional about it. Use it. I'm not 100% oil free. I just use it with intention. Okay, so it's very calorically dense and doesn't add as much nutrients. So you want to be careful with that. So with that disclaimer out there, let's name some whole fat sources. Yes, ma'am. Nuts, yes, absolutely. Coconut. Coconut, 100%. Whole fats, yes. Avocado, yes. What else? What about the actual olives instead of the olive oil? Yep. Yep. Anything else that you like, that you think of as a whole fat? Y'all give me blanks. Okay, it's okay. I got y'all covered. I got y'all covered. So grapeseed oil, we're talking about whole foods right now, but grapeseed oil is a decent high heat oil, but I prefer not to use it because this is not from the nutrition stance, this is from the Naija Method stance. If I use an oil, I want to use an oil that's not refined that I could make on my own. So a coconut oil, when you blend coconut, you see the fat rise to the top, okay? You can make your own avocado oil, it rises to the top. You can make your own palm fruit oil, it rises to the top. You can make your own olive oil. Grape seed oil requires a machine, okay? So yes, it's not something, so for me, it's a processed oil. Even though I know the alkaline vegans heavily use grapeseed oil, you can't make it yourself. So I don't mess with it personally. That's a personal thing. So, but good call out. But can you think of a whole food that's primarily fat? Walnuts, yes. Okay, but coconut, tahini or sesame seeds, yes. Because tahini is just ground sesame seeds. Like peanut butter is just ground peanuts. Tahini is just ground sesame, okay? So those are whole fat sources that you don't have to use oil for. All right, and the last one's a seasoning, because we can talk all this healthy stuff, but if it doesn't taste good, you're not going to stick with it. It's just what it is, okay? So what seasonings do you all like? And this is a question from a chef perspective I get all the time. It's like, I can cook, but I don't know how to season my food. And I always have to tell people it's not about seasoning, because in a culinary sense, seasoning kind of specifically means to add salt. If you're talking about from like culinary school type thing, it's flavor profiles. And so that's how you're seasoning your food. So if you're saying, I don't know what flavor profiles I like, okay. When you go out to a restaurant, what type of restaurant do you like to go to? Do you pick an Indian restaurant? Do you pick a Thai restaurant? Okay, so you like the Thai flavor profile. So then what consists of Thai flavors? That's how you season your food. Okay, that's what you're actually seeking. So if you say, I hate Indian food, okay, well, we're not going to use those spices and things because that's not the flavor profile you like. If you like Southwestern flavor, whatever your jam is, that's how you're going to season your food, okay? And that's a whole chapter on that in the book, or whatever. We talked about that and go into detail, but you figure out what flavor profiles you like. Now, you might say, hey, I like hot honey. I like lemon pepper. Lowry's is not a seasoning, okay? Okay, so you pick what you like, and if you want to buy pre-made taco mix, okay, you can do that too. But you want to make sure that you're identifying flavor that you're going to have for whatever span of ingredients you're going to prepare, because that is super important. You don't want all this quinoa cooked and chickpeas cooked and it's all bland and you're like, I don't want this. Like, it's too much, okay? So we have that. So now that you have that kind of listed, at the top of the thing that makes it super important, you put the week of, so this is the week of April 19th, and then you put your goal and you circle your goal. So if your goal is to maintain, put maintenance. If you want to stabilize your blood sugar, put that. If you want to recalibrate the weight on your body or lose weight, put that. If you want to gain muscle, put that. Or whatever your goal is, you put that and you put a circle around it. Now, there's been scientific research to prove that if you write down your goal and circle it, just the act of circling it increases your chance to complete it by 40%. 40% to circle it. So don't just write it down and circle it. Yes, ma'am. So that's a great question. Her question is, would fresh and tasty snacks be a goal? The goal here is directed to you in terms of your actual health, because fresh and tasty snacks is inherent, and by doing this template, that's going to happen. But the goal in terms of not just feeding your health, you want to feed your health as well, not just support your lifestyle with the prepared foods. So if you're good, then you just say maintenance. You want to maintain what you're doing in terms of how you're eating, but you want to jazz the flavors of it. You doing this jazzes that up. Does that make sense? So you said lose weight 3 times. So you're wanting to redistribute the weight on your body how it is, or let some of it go. Tone. Okay, so you want muscle building. That's what you want to do. So that's the focus. And that matters because whatever goal you put, that's going to determine the portions on your plate. So how much of a protein you're going to have on your plate, how much of a starch, how much of a non-starch are you going to have on your plate is going to be based on your goals. So if she's wanting to build muscle, she's going to have 35% protein on her plate automatically. I already know that, okay? But if someone wants to lose weight, they're going to have 60% of non-starchy veg on their plate. The same food, just redistribute on the plate based on your health goal. Okay, great questions. Now the other part of this template is, so this not only helps you with your meal prep, your food preparation, turns into your grocery list, okay? So now that you've written this all out, and by having this, you already know you're going to be eating healthier because you're conscious of saying, I'm going to have at least 6 non-starchy vegetables, I'm going to have, you're making sure that your bases are covered. So now everybody's not going to make everything from scratch all the time. So if you know you're going to do some prepared foods, write those down. And if there's some recipes, because this is not necessarily recipe based, but there are a couple of recipes that you like or you know your family likes or something you saw on Tastemade or Food Network that you want to throw in for the week, you write that down too so that you have this all on one sheet. And then when you finish it, you take a picture of it so you can take this to the grocery store with you and you put it on your refrigerator so it's always there to see to keep you motivated because you have that circled goal for the week or for the day, for the 3 days or however long you're going to do it. Okay? Does that make sense? Okay. Yes. Okay. So you're asking about salt substitutes. So first of all, I'm not anti-salt because we need sodium. Okay. But you have to have sodium has to be in balance with potassium. Now, the recommended guidelines for USDA is going to say a 4-to-1 potassium to sodium ratio. In the natural health space, where we're going to say a 10-to-1 ratio. Okay. So that means you can put salt and have flavor, but you need to make sure you eat enough greens or something to balance that out. All right. Because the they just changed it. Maha just changed it. It was 2 teaspoons max of salt a day. And now it's down to 1¼ teaspoon of salt per day for the entire day in terms of sodium, okay? Sodium intake. But in the natural health space world, if you're not using salt or don't want to use salt, the two I like to use miso paste because miso has a salty flavor, but because it's fermented, it does not have the same impact on the body as just straight salt. And I also like to use dulse flakes, okay? Because now you're getting, not has a salty flavor, but it also has all those minerals in it. And so that is something that's what I personally use. Those two things. Then I also, depending on what I'm cooking, because I'm making like a Jamaican dish or something like that, I'll use like coconut aminos or something like that. Or some people, you might use a tamari or soy sauce as well to get a salty kind of flavor without straight salt. But actually, for the soy sauce, I actually use namashuyu because it's a raw version of it, and it tastes better. It's like a way better taste. Yes, ma'am. Okay, so the question is, what are my personal thoughts or professional thoughts? Okay. All right, because it's 2 answers. Okay, got the, Oh, okay, she asked for both. Professionally, I think it's fantastic. Professionally, it's very high in all your B vitamins. It's very high in protein, and it's really good. It's a good thickener. It's good for adding to sauces. People claim it tastes like cheese. I don't think it does, but that's what they say. I have no problem with that. Now, on the practitioner side, in clinic, a lot of people have yeast allergies. Okay, now even though this is a deactivated yeast, people still have lots of reactions to it. So I will start by saying you have to make sure that you don't have a yeast allergy, number 1. Number 2, you have to make sure that it's not something you're doing all the time. And the biggest thing I don't like about nutritional yeast, just on the personal side, is that most of the time when you find it in a grocery store, it is fortified. I am not a fan of fortified vitamins and minerals. What does fortified mean? Do y'all know what that means when I say fortified? It means synthetically added vitamins, okay? So that's why you're not allowed to legally sell white rice in the United States without synthetic vitamins being added back to it, because all the nutrients were in the bran that was stripped away, that was brown rice, and then to make it white rice, it took all the nutrients away. If you sold that, you cannot sell that, so you have to, quote unquote, fortify it in order to sell white rice here in the United States. So you'll see all these things, all these processed foods, you'll see fortified vitamins added to it. So when you buy nutritional yeast in the grocery store, most of them are fortified with B12, and it's like a bright yellow, right? And it's synthetic, right? So, as a practitioner, I don't like fortified anything. So if I have nutritional yeast, I have the non-fortified kind, the organic non-fortified kind, and I use it sparingly. Okay, but it's good. It's not bad. I mean, it's not a bad thing. But the main thing that I've seen is that people who have yeast allergies, and that's a very common allergy. And so that's something you want to be aware of. Is that? But that's a good question. Okay. 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 The question is, how do you find out if you have a yeast allergy? You can get an IgG test done, which is a delayed food allergy test. Most people get an IgE test done when you go to your allergist. They put the thing on your back and all that stuff and see what pops up. That's the stuff that as soon as you eat it, you have an immediate reaction to it. But you don't know if something you ate a month ago is still causing inflammation in your body and giving you problems. So when you do a delayed food test, the IgG test, that's what that's testing. And that's something that comes up often when like patients get that done. There's a yeast allergy. Okay. You can't. True. You can ask your doctor for it, but you can also go to a holistic practitioner where they specialize in how to actually read and interpret the results. Most of your allopathic doctors do not dabble in that. Okay. Okay. So the short answer is yes. Okay. So on the professional side, the USDA side and all that, because if you've seen, like, you saw how Maha has now flipped the pyramid over and all that. We used to have like a whole thing where it had dairy in a corner and then your grains and all stuff. Okay, so they're saying that's part of a standard American meal is to have dairy per American standard guidelines. Okay, for all people. That's why the school lunch program, every child's supposed to get a little carton of milk. Okay, so that's why they're going to say it. So if you go to a nutritionist with that training, they're going to say, yes, you got to have dairy because that's part of it. All right. You're drinking cow's breast milk. You're not a cow. You're not a baby cow. Breast milk, like if you had a child, the breast milk is for that human child so that human can grow to be a human. Then we're drinking the breast milk of a cow that's supposed to be a 1,200-pound cow. And then you wonder why these girls in 5th grade look like they in college already developed, that's why that happens. That's why it happened to me. Okay, I mean, I'm still a thick one, but I developed way too early. Way too early. All this, because you're taking in all those hormones of a cow, okay? Not only that, it is one of the most inflammatory, quote unquote, foods that you can consume as a human. It's very, very inflammatory. So you are not supposed to be having dairy. And it's actually classified as racist, and we talk about this in class, because most blacks, Asians, and Hispanics are what they call lactose intolerant. But then they're going to say you're still required to have it to be healthy, knowing that for most people of color, they don't have the digestive enzyme to break down lactase. They don't have it. But then they put it everywhere and put it in everything, and it happens to taste good. Then they also know, because just like breast milk there's something in breast milk that makes that baby want more milk. It's the same thing as that breast milk that makes you want more of that cheese, makes you want more of that, because it's the casomorphines. It attaches to the same receptors in your head as morphine. And that's what makes it so freaking addictive as a former cheeseaholic, okay? That's what makes it so addictive. So no, it is not made for human consumption. Can you have it? You can choose to. It's definitely not made for people, melanated people. It's just not. There's one tribe in Africa that has been doing it for so long that they're the only ones that have the digestive enzyme to break it down. They're the only ones, and the people of Northern European descent. Okay, because at the age of 2, we don't have that. We can't break it down. We can't, because by the age of 2, humans are supposed to be weaned off. Okay, but then we keep drinking another species breast milk. When you came out, you're supposed to be on the udder of a cow or a goat or a sheep. That's not natural, and you would never do it directly. But as long as it's processed and as long as it's so far away from you, you don't see that happening, then you're fine drinking. But that's what it is. And the milk you get here in the United States, it's even worse. You said what? Oh, yes, the poor cows, yes. When I was in corporate America, I had one of my teams was in Florence, Italy, so I went there every month between Canada, Florence, Italy, Germany, and the fat literally rose to the top of the milk there. Like, it's totally different. Like, it's totally different. You get raw milk there, they didn't have the same reactions like here. Here it's a hygiene process. When it says pasteurized, that's a hygiene process. Okay, and they're heating it, so it's killing off some of the nutrients that's in it. It kills it off because from the high heat. It's a hygiene process, pasteurization. Look it up. I don't have time to go into it. I would love to. I just don't have time. Okay, but yes, so dairy is super anti-inflammatory. It majorly contributes to fibroids and any kind of female health issues. Hair, skin, cut it out. And there's so many replacements for it. You don't need it. You just don't need it. And if you feel like most people don't actually just drink a cup of milk, you're having milk in things. Swap out the source, and it's worth it. With that, okay, the next part is, how do you know what's on your plate? Like I asked the lady in green here. What's your name? Because I keep saying lady in green. Tahira. Okay, like I asked Tahira. So that's where the PF3 framework comes in. P stands for protein, and there's 3 F's. The first F is for fiber. The second F is for fat. And the last F is for flavor. So that's your PF3 framework. And so that tells you whatever snack you have, whatever breakfast, lunch, or dinner you have, whatever you're consuming, if it doesn't have PF3, you need to fix it because something's missing and it's not a complete meal that's going to be with that water with the lemon and the rosemary. That's what you want to feel, right? But if you leave here and you go to Bojangles or you go to Longhorn Steakhouse or whatever, it's going to fill the other jar, okay? So you have to make that decision. So even if you go to these places, how can you still meet this criteria? That's what we're going to go through and talk about, okay? So let's see. Karen, would you read what protein is really loud for everybody? Yes, agusi is a West African melon seed. I am Nigerian, and so I'm always throwing West Africa in wherever I can, okay? So that's just part of it. And that's why I'm the Naija goddess, because Naija is a colloquialism for Nigerian person, a person from Nigeria. So if you ever hear Naija, there is Nigerian. All right. Who would like to read fiber? Tahiri. So fiber is so important. The main point of that paragraph is that most Americans are woefully deficient in fiber, okay? Getting even 10 grams in a whole day rarely happens. They get their fiber from hot dog buns, hamburger buns, French fries, okay? You're not getting real fiber. So if those are the kind of foods that have fiber, what foods don't have any fiber whatsoever? Take a wild guess. Flesh does not have a drop of fiber. Cheese does not have a scrap of fiber, okay? And when I say flesh, that includes the ones that swim. Has no fiber. Because for some reason people think I don't eat animals, but they're sitting there eating salmon. I'm like, hello. It's still an animal, okay? So meat, cheese, and what other things that contain animal eggs, they do not have any fiber. Human beings require fiber, okay? That's just a point blank period. Yes, ma'am.
What about rice, pasta?
Yes. So depending on the type of rice and the type of fiber, they have varying degrees of fiber. Her question is, what about rice or pasta? So if I consume pasta, there's a brand out now that you can get at Walmart called Brahmi that I really like. It's made with lupini beans and just B-R-A-M-I, Brahmi. And it's made with lupini beans. And 3.5 serving of pasta is 21 grams of protein and 12 grams of fiber. So, and it tastes like regular pasta. It tastes like every time I ask meat eating friends, they can't tell the difference, okay? Now you can go buy the chickpea pastas, it's a clear difference, okay? It's not the same texture or anything like that. The brown rice pastas, they're good. But if you're a person that's still in both worlds and you're saying this doesn't taste like the stuff in the blue box or the Barilla or whatever the other stuff is, then try this one. It's a really good way to get you in, yeah. Rice, white rice, it's stripped of literally all its nutrients. All that's left of that rice kernel is the endosperm, which is why it's so high in the glycemic index, because it just converts to sugar immediately. So if your person's like, look, I like my white rice, there are a couple ways you can still consume it. Cook it, cool it, then eat it after it's been fully cooled. Then it has more resistant starch. It doesn't spike your blood sugar nearly as much. That's one way you can do it. 2, mix it with like half white rice, half brown rice, or half white rice, half quinoa. Just mix it so that you can still feel like you're eating it, but you're adding fiber to it because all the nutrients have been stripped away. The bran has been stripped away. That's where the protein lies. That's where all the nutrients lie. It's in that bran in the brown rice that's been stripped away for it to be white rice. Okay, so there are ways you can do it, but you want to be conscious about that fiber. So when you eat fiber, it's called peristalsis. So when you swallow, it goes down. The muscles that make everything move so that you can actually eliminate after every meal, because you should be eliminating however many times you eat a day is how many times you should be eliminating per day. That's a whole lecture in itself. If you don't have fiber, those muscles get weak. And then all of a sudden, if you've just been eating a lot of meat and cheese and stuff you're not supposed to be eating, processed crap, then you start eating a lot of fiber, you could get constipated, especially if you didn't increase your water intake, okay? You cannot increase your fiber and still drinking your 12 ounces of water a day, okay? You need to drink water, you need to be hydrated, and you have to eat enough fiber so that you can properly eliminate. So if you have 3 major meals per day, like a breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you should be eliminating 3 times per day. If you're not, just think about it. Your body is 97 degrees. It's in there fermenting and putrefying. And then that's why it smells coming out. And it's not supposed to smell. It should be an easy elimination. It's supposed to happen. It's just backed up on the highway. You just have to think about it like that. So if that's not happening, that means it's just sitting in there because you know what you ate. You know you ate it. It hasn't come out yet. Your bowel transit time should be between 18 to 22 hours. And you say, any, or Naija, I don't know what my bowel transit time is. Okay, well, you can swallow a kernel of corn because our bodies don't digest it. You can swallow a whole sunflower seed because our bodies don't break that down. So from the time you swallow, the time it comes out in the commode, that is your bowel transit time. And if it's more than 24 hours, we have a problem, people. Okay, this is why when you go to your gastroenterologist or anything like that, they say, oh, you only had like 3 polyps. You're not supposed to have any. Okay, this is why colon cancer is on the rise, because we're not eating enough fiber and we're not eliminating, and that stuff is sitting inside. And when it sits inside, your large intestines reabsorb it. And that is actual waste that's being reabsorbed in your body. Okay, and it shows up in your skin, it shows up in how you feel, it shows up in the aches and pains in your body, because all that waste that's supposed to have already come out has been reabsorbed. Okay, so that's why this fiber is so important. Her question is about the different types of beans and if certain beans make you gassier than other beans. It honestly ultimately depends on the person, and ultimately that person probably doesn't eat enough fiber in general. But there are some things that don't speak to our bodies. Like everybody can't eat the same things at whatever space and time they are with concerning their health. What I will say concerning the flatulence, first thing, if you're not doing canned beans, you want to try to not do canned beans. But if you're not doing canned beans, you want to make sure you soak your beans. And when you soak your beans, soak it with seaweed, a strip of kombu. And it will suck up those lectins. The lectins is what is helping with those anti-nutrients and things. That is what's causing that flatulence. So if you soak your beans with kombu or seaweed and then cook your beans, either you will have no flatulence or it'll be significantly reduced. So it's the preparation methods that really matters. And if you're using canned beans, rinse them thoroughly and then rinse them thoroughly and cook them well. And I would still add the seaweed when you cook the beans if you're doing them cooked. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Is
So her question is gas really bad? So gas is a natural response. It is natural, but when if it's too much, it can be too much. I mean, something's going on. You're not processing things well. So it means either you're not hydrated enough to absorb all the extra fiber, which is normally the case, and people overlook that. Okay, so you want to make sure you're really cognizant about consuming enough. And then I say water, but it doesn't have to be water. It's your fruits count as your water. I mean, there's making sure that you're properly hydrated with something that's not filled with sugar, non-sweetened herbal teas. All that counts towards your water intake. So making sure you're properly hydrated. And so the guidance on that is half of your weight in fluid ounces, to a degree. So if you're 400 pounds, you're not going to drink 200 fluid ounces of water. So it doesn't. It's within a healthy range. Okay, so everyone in here should be drinking at least 80 fluid ounces of water every day at a minimum. Okay, so that's the main thing. And if there's other digestive issues going on, that's like more of a conversation, because I have to talk to you and see like how you're not you, but you plural, in terms of what else is happening. Because like I said, that's a whole conversation about digestion, elimination. That's like one of my best lectures is talking about poop. That's like one of my favorite topics. And we would have that conversation because it should not be excessive. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
Just real quick. So you said soak your beans with seaweed?
Yes. The seaweed, just like it does in the ocean, it soaks up anti-nutrients, it soaks up lectins, it soaks those things up, so that's why when you soak it with that, you pour that water out, and then you go to cook them, all that stuff is out of the beans, and then when you're cooking them, you have a lot less that's reactive to it. It's like a night and day difference. Like when I started doing this, like a huge difference. And then if you are a canned bean person, there is one company that I'm aware of that actually puts seaweed in their canned beans, and that's Eden Organics. So that is one canned bean company that does use the seaweed, and it's a clear difference in the way they're like chickpeas look. You can see the difference. Okay, so yeah, kombas, K-O-M-B-A. That's a type of seaweed. Yeah. Yep. And you can find this at a regular grocery store. If they have a little Asian section, they have kombu. Okay, that's what I'm saying. Just your regular Food Lions and Hair Cedars and all this stuff have all these things that you just walk right on past. So when you pick up that glass of soy sauce, kombu's right there. Okay, it's right there. All right, so now we know. So it's PF3. So we know protein, fiber. So now fat. So, sir, in the hat, would you read fat, please, as loud as you can? Perfect. And some examples of fats are avocado, tahini, coconut, nuts, seeds, virgin red palm oil from West Africa or Ecuador, olives, nut butters, hemp oil. Okay, those are some of the whole fats. There's way more, but those are the ones that are most common. Okay, so you want to make sure you add fat, some type of fat, to your dish. That's why I say I'm not 100% oil free, because like if I'm making a salad and I'm doing a vinaigrette, okay, that's going to be with oil, and that oil, that fat, is what helps you absorb the fat soluble vitamins. So we talk about this all the time. So for people who've been in my class for, what are the 4 fat soluble vitamins? Not, E is one of them, yeah. A, D, and K, yes. So ADEC. So vitamin A, D, E, and K are your fat soluble vitamins, meaning that if you're going to consume food, so if you eat a salad and it's green, that's vitamin K, okay? If you don't have any fat in that salad, you can't absorb the fat-soluble nutrients. So you want to make sure that you have some type of fat component on your plate. Now, we really don't have to use measuring cups, because our hands are proportional. I have tiny hands. Even though I'm 5'10" and all that, I have small hands. So for your non-starchy veg, it's two cup palms on your plate. For your starch, it's one of these, okay? For your protein, it's one of these. And for your fats, it's 2 thumbs. I'll say it this time. I was trying to show you. So 2 cupped palms is for your non-starchy veg on your plate. So a lot of questions I get, well, what if I'm eating spaghetti and it's all mixed together? Okay, that means you eat a salad first for your non-starchy veg before you eat that meal of salad or whatever of spaghetti or whatever that you're about to eat. So 2 cupped palms at a minimum is your non-starchy veg. For your starch is 1 fist. For your protein is 1 palm, and for your fat is 2 thumbs. So that's like, just like I said, like above ground is non-starchy, below ground is starchy. That's like it's not always, but most of the time. Same thing with this. Okay, that's your bare minimum, because that's proportionate to your body. So like my cup palm and my husband's cup palm are 2 different sizes, but it's made for our bodies. Huh? Even though we're different sizes, yes, of course. So this is just guidance. Okay, I'm not saying that because when I do an avocado, I don't eat the whole avocado for the whole day. But that's for the whole day. Okay, So I'm not going to eat 3 avocados in a day. But if I'm making a chickpea tuna with a whole avocado, I'm going to eat the whole avocado. But that means other things I'm eating throughout the day, I'm just mindful. I won't cook with oil. I only cook with water or soy sauce or aminos or whatever. You're just mindful, okay? That's just the guidance. So if you're not sure when you're looking at your plate, like, okay, do I have everything covered before I devour all this stuff? Do I have my bases covered? Because you might eat something like, I always tend to eat my salads dry. I don't usually do salad dressings. I like to just eat the whatever green by itself. And so then when I say, okay, well, now I'll put some pumpkin seeds on it as my fat if I still want not to have the dressing. So it's just being aware of where am I getting all my nutrients so that this can be satisfying to my body so it fills the clean glass with the rosemary and the thyme and the lemon and not feeding this murky glass. Okay, I don't want to fill that murky glass. So you have to think every time you're taking a bite, which glass are you filling up? Okay, are you feeding disease or are you feeding health? Okay, that's what you want to always think about. Yes, ma'am. So the question is, she stopped eating avocado because they turned brown before she could eat it all. So here's the best guidance. If you cut avocado in half, eat the side the seed is not on, do not remove the seed. Leave the seed in the avocado and make sure, and then put it in an air-safe container. It will stay greener longer. Then you can also put, just because it's just antioxidant, just put like a lime or lemon juice on it as well. But make sure the seed is in there. Leave the seed in. That's key. Okay? It won't deteriorate nearly as fast. Yes, ma'am. I haven't seen it rancid. So when I'm talking about red palm oil, I'm talking about specifically from West Africa or Ecuador, not this industrialized palm oil that destroys the planet, that has been extracted with all these industrialization products. I'm talking about stuff that comes from the palm fruit. Okay, you can only get that at West African markets, and you can. I haven't seen it rancid. I mean, it's bright orange red. Oh, okay. I haven't seen that because there's a lot of propaganda. Like virgin palm oil is one of the highest sources on the planet for vitamin A and vitamin E, and it has the entire package. So, like when people were suffering with night blindness and other like third world parts of the world, they were giving them tablespoons of or teaspoons of red palm oil to help their vision because it's so high in it. It's it's very healthy oil if you use a virgin palm oil. On the back of your sheets, I listed out some more things here of all the categories so you can see those things that are right in your regular grocery store. And then here, I have some QR codes. So I have a 3-day reset if you want breakfast, lunch, and dinner recipes that are high in protein, high in fiber, and have the fat flavor that meet the PF3 requirement. You can scan this QR code and you can get that free download. Then I also have my book here. There's a hardcover version, a digital version. You can scan those codes. And then if you want the world's best sea moss, okay, self-proclaimed, you can get some today or even the magnesium spray from my website, and that QR code's here, and I do have some of those for sale. So before I let you all go, we got to put something in your mouth because this went by way faster than I anticipated. So I am going to do for this session a smoothie, okay? And this is a mango chickpea hemp smoothie, okay? So it is filled with tons of fiber. So this one smoothie, because if you drink it for breakfast, if in a whole portion, it'd be 32 ounces. And so some people may not be able to do that, but if you drink the 32 ounces, you won't have lunch. You'll just eat 2 meals a day. You'll just have breakfast and lunch, okay? And the calories range from 600 to 800 calories depending on how sweet you make it because it's a full meal, okay? It's a complete meal. So this is one, if you were using canned beans, this is one full can of beans. This is ensure you get all your beans in. So this is where all the fiber comes from. So this shake has 25 grams of fiber, 42 grams of protein, full of iron, full of vitamin C, full of all the good stuff. And the flavor enhancer is lemongrass, okay? So we've got that. And we have our fat, which is also more protein, here are hemp seeds. So I'm going to make this for you real quick and then let you all taste it. And then we'll have our next session. The next session we'll do my semi-famous kale salad, okay? So just give me 1 second, put some gloves on. So the question is, what is lemongrass? Lemongrass is an herb. It's like one of my, it's something you probably see more as an essential oil. It's one of my favorite smells, but this is where it actually comes from. You take this and chop it up, and I'll pass it around. You all can smell if you want. It smells just like the essential oil, and it's very anti-inflammatory. It has so many benefits for the body. Okay.
Where do you get it?
The question is, where do you get it? Any grocery store. I got this from Food Line this morning for 99 cents. Okay. They always have it at Food Line. They always have it at Harris Teeter in the produce section. I haven't gone somewhere where they haven't had it. You just have to look for it. It's there in the produce section. Yep. Any other questions? And this was frozen mango, and it's kind of melted, so the juice is in here now. So I'm kind of known for doing bean smoothies. Like if you do a black bean one, like a black forest one, you can do black beans with like cherries and a little bit, it's like a red velvet or like a black forest type of smoothie. If you don't like chickpeas, because some people say don't like chickpeas, you can switch out this for navy beans or cannellini beans. But this is how, if you know for dinner you're going to go out, how do you get in enough beans every day? Drink it. That's what I say, drink it. Okay, so I did this whole, we'll see it like on TV, it's like I'll bake it and then magically I've made this whole gallon and you all can taste it, but it's right in my refrigerator at the house, unfortunately. A whole gallon of it. So, y'all can follow me home, yes. You can follow me home. So I forgot the ginger and the actual thing, so my apologies. And then I'm pouring in milk. This is homemade almond milk. I normally use soy milk or hemp milk that I prefer to make. And we'll just blitz this up. Okay, so pop quiz. In this smoothie, what's our PF3? Okay, so I heard the protein was the hemp hearts and chickpeas. That is correct. Flavor would have been ginger and also the lemongrass. And what else? Fibers and everything. Yes. So now when you make your own plates, you can analyze and say, does this meet all the criteria? Do you have protein? Do you have fiber? Fiber meaning all your non-starchy veggies and starches. Do you have an appropriate fat? And then what's your flavor? Okay, that's how I drink it. Because it definitely, when you drink this in the morning, you're full. Like I drink this in the morning after I come back from the gym. I don't even think about food till like 2:30. 32 ounces. This. So somebody said they can't drink that. Whenever you can drink it. Yeah, that's just when I do it. I don't use protein powders. Like I use whole foods. We don't need to use protein powders. I mean, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with them if they're clean ingredients. I'm not saying there's anything wrong with it at all. But when you make your own milk, you have all that pulp left. You can make your own energy bites. When you use beans or whatever, you have the protein to even make smoothies. And then when you're cooking whole dishes, you have your protein. So, and this obsession with protein is marketing. Like you need everything. Like I really hate how carbohydrates are demonized. Broccoli is a carbohydrate. Bell peppers are carbohydrates. Okay, you have to consume carbohydrates. You don't want to consume refined carbohydrates, your white breads and your pizza doughs and all that kind of stuff. That's what you don't want to consume. But you have to have it. Our brains run on that. So you have to make sure you have everything. You need fat, you need carbohydrates, and you need protein. But protein is not king. You can't have all protein and you don't have any fat, and you don't have any carbohydrates. It doesn't work like that. Okay? Even if you're on the supposed carnivore nonsense, okay? This is why they can't do it for too long, because you have to have fiber. This is why they're constipated. You have to have fiber. Okay? Now, I tend to blend mine. I like mine really, really, really smooth, but I don't want, since I'm on a time crunch here. Now, mine just supposed to have ginger in it. I'm so mad. I got this whole gallon at home. Lord have mercy. So, sea moss falls under a supplement. So, I don't consider it in the food category because it's just minerals. Okay? And then because people, you know how they say a spoonful of sugar helps medicine go down? So, adding the fruit to it, like I have like pineapple and I have elderberry, it just helps make it taste good, because by itself, it really doesn't taste all that great. So that's something you just want to do. Now, I just want to remind you, this is without any sweetener added. So if you need it sweeter, add sweetness. And this is without the ginger, which is important.
I even like it chunky.
You like it? This is how y'all imagine that murky. So which glass mason jar does this fill up? I like to add herbs to the smoothies, because now you're getting in. So if you don't drink herbal teas every day, this is how you get in herbs. So I like to add herbs to my smoothies. Okay. The main thing with kale, I hear particularly from people of my complexion that they don't like kale. I always hear that. I don't like kale. I'm like, why? Something's not happening. You have to massage your kale. Okay. It's just required. I should have put in wet hands and gloves. It's not the smartest thing to do. Okay, now, normally I would grow this on my tower garden. If you would like to get one, you can talk to me or Ramona after this. But if you're going to buy your kale in the grocery store, make sure it's organic. It's very, very important. You should go on I do a weekly, I have a podcast called Informed Choice, where we talk about topics like this. It comes on Mondays at 2. I encourage you to go on and check it out. One of my last episodes, I talked about the MAHA movement. Does everyone know what MAHA is? Make America Healthy Again, with Robert F. Kennedy Jr. Y'all funny. Y'all are funny. Okay, well, the MAHA movement, despite, this is not political, despite whatever, where's my salt? They have done a lot of good things. They really, truly have. For starters, they started to take lead out of the baby food. Okay, why is there lead in baby food? You try to find organic baby food. Try to find baby food that's not only with cow's milk. Try to find any of that stuff. Try to find baby food that doesn't have artificial colors in it. You'll be very hard pressed. Okay, so they started to do that. They put an emphasis, though I don't like everything they did with the food pyramid, they put an emphasis on whole foods. So even though they emphasize meat, they emphasize vegetables as the base of your plate. Okay, whereas before it was grains and breads as the base of your plate. They're now emphasizing single ingredient whole foods. Whether you're fully vegan or fully carnivore, and we're in between, it's on single ingredient foods. That's a good thing, okay? So here I just have some kale. I put some cabbage, well, some carrots in this. I also usually put red cabbage in it as well. I should have done a bigger bowl. And I had a little teaspoon of salt somewhere, but I can't find it, so I'm going to move forward. And then I have this salad dressing that y'all always seem to love. This is just a garlic salad dressing. It's a copycat recipe because the original recipe that if you buy in the grocery, they use canola oil. And so if you make it on your own, I use avocado oil. And it's called Garlic Expression, so you can, it's a knockoff. And what you want to do is just massage it. And you got to put some elbow grease into it now. Don't play with it, okay? It's on my website, but it's avocado oil, it's Italian seasoning, it's apple cider vinegar, a little bit of salt, and whole garlic cloves smashed up to release their essence. And you have to let it sit for like 3 days because otherwise that apple cider vinegar makes it like really, really bright, like really bright. So you're going to massage this until it feels tender. And you'll see it turn, so y'all see the color is now. It'll turn this beautiful, like dark kind of green. And you got to get in there, right? Don't play with it. If you don't do this step, this is why it's going to taste bitter. This is why you're like, we ain't friends like that, right? And it's important because you want to impart love and good health and good intentions into yourself. It takes time and effort. Huh? Well, I'm a big proponent. If I'm upset, I don't cook. I don't cook, especially when I'm cooking for other people. If I'm not in a good headspace, if like a meal prep client, I'll tell them, say, hey, it's going to be delayed today because I'm not in the right, I don't want bad energy in the food. And I really think it makes a difference. And I think it makes a difference. So the other thing about massaging is that you're breaking down the cell walls of the kale, making the nutrients more bioavailable when you actually do chew it, right? And that's why the bitterness is also gone, and you can get that increased mouthfeel. And you'll see how it'll continuously shrink significantly. So yeah, you want to do like one of them grandma things, right? You got to put it in there now. You got to do it. Do y'all see how it's already changed color? And how much it's gone down? It's gone down almost by half. Okay, so that's a good indicator. If I was doing this, I would keep going. But yeah, I would keep going. Because when it takes time. Because when I'm making it for people that don't eat lots of salads and things, or they think they don't like kale, I have to make it as tender as possible. So it's a good first experience for them. If I'm making for people that like you all who are already health conscious, I don't have to do all the extra. But when I normally make for people who eat everything. So I try to make sure they have the best experience when they're eating quote unquote vegan, even though I hate the word, food. So in this salad, where's our PF3? Name it. What's our protein? The kale. So I just put in now for flavor, the way I like to do it, so you have the contrast to the dressing, I like to put in some dehydrated blueberries, okay? So you have a little bit of natural sweetness with the carrots and the blueberries, and then you have the little slight bitterness from the kale, and then you have the sharp acidity from the actual dressing, okay? Again, if you go to thenaijaguys.com, the garlic vinaigrette dressings there, recipes there, and so is this kale salad, and there's a video of me doing it too, so if you go on my YouTube page. Everything is The Naija Goddess. So I'm going to mix this in and then get y'all served. You're asking about what helps with regulating hormones. Okay, so this is something like when I still had all those fibroids and things, I ate multiple kale salads a day because you need the fiber because the fiber is going to pull out all the excesses and it's going to eliminate them. So when you have PCOS or you have fibroids, particularly you have excess estrogen, you have to eat more cruciferous vegetables to pull those things out, right? That's going to balance your, so if you eat high fiber, high cruciferous veg and stay properly hydrated, that's already half the battle with balancing your hormones. But you have to be consistent about it. You have to hydrate properly. You have to eat cruciferous vegetables and make that a staple of every meal that you eat. If you don't do that, you're going to be playing double dutch with the natural side and the allopathic side. So you want to eat vitamin E rich foods and biotin rich foods. And you want to make sure, again, hydration is so key, y'all. You have to be properly hydrated, and you have to also make sure you're getting enough iron. I have I have a video dedicated to hair growth on my website. On my YouTube channel. It's like 3 or 4. Maybe it's 5 years old at this point, but I break it all the way down. But you have to make sure you're getting enough iron. That is super important. If your iron's low, you're not going to have it. You have to make sure you're eating zinc-rich foods. You have to make sure you're properly hydrated. You have to. There's certain things you have to in biotin and vitamin E. So like a vegetable that has vitamin E. And it's Swiss chard is one that comes to mind. Biotin-rich food would be like sweet potatoes. Make sure you're eating those regularly. Making sure you're eating a lot of iron-rich food, especially if you're vegan or whole food, plant-based. You want to make sure that you're eating anything that's an iron-rich food with vitamin C, so that your body can absorb it all. So those are things you have to do on a regular basis. Plus hydration that you have to do, and your hair comes, because I had basically a bald spot. I had you have like PCOS, you have like male pattern baldness, and I had all that. And now my hair is all down my back. It's curly today, thanks to the greatest loctician in the building. So for you as a man, you want to eat as many pumpkin seeds as you can. That's like really high in zinc, right? Because there's plenty of animal sources high in zinc, but plant-based pumpkin seeds. How I like to do pumpkin, how I give it to my husband, I do a pumpkin seed scramble. Okay, so instead of just eating cups of palmfuls of pumpkin, you may not eat as much. I take same little blender, get like a cup of pumpkin seeds with water. I actually said my recipes in my book. You can come here and take a picture of it, and you blend it up, and then that's your eggs, because it scrambles up just like an egg, from what I recall anyway. Over low heat, it scrambles up just like an egg. You season it up like however you do your eggs or whatever, and you eat that every day. That's good for your prostate. It's good for so many things for men. It's good for your immune system, yes. But for menopause specifically, the main thing, menopause, you want to eat estrogen-rich food. So at least a half cup of edamame a day has been proven to reduce any kind of side effects you have with that. Yeah, there's so many articles, PubMed articles on that. So half cup of that. If you drink nettle tea every day, the minerals in there, it really truly helps with that. Nettle tea, yes, stinging nettle tea. Nettle, N as in Nancy, E-T-T-L-E. You can also drink red clover tea. But stinging nettle tea tastes better to me. So those are things that are super important. Of course, you have to eat lots of fiber, because now you still have to balance your hormones out, and all the excess hormones that you have are eliminated through stool, right? If you have excess cholesterol and excess hormones, whether it be testosterone or estrogen, it has to be eliminated through stool, which means you have to have enough fiber. And I'm grateful for your time and attention. Thank you all so much, and have a wonderful, wonderful week, okay? Thank y'all.